Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that everybody watching this video survived Christmas 2019. Good morning, it's Uncle Lou here. It's the day after Christmas right now as I'm filming this video. Early in the morning, and Uncle Lou is out here in his brand new Georgia Bulldogs robe. Look at this. Look how comfortable I am. Look at this. Watch out. Look how comfortable I am. Watch this. This is the good life. Anyway, good morning, and that is Uncle Lou here. I'm going to do a series of preview videos this morning, and I'm going to split them into 2 or 3 actual videos. So depending on when you're watching this video and the title of this video, you can skip back a video or 2 or forward a video or 2 to see the other preview and prediction videos for some of the bowl games that I'm going to do today. I'm going to cover all the bowl games this morning in 2 or 3 separate videos that are taking place on Saturday and Monday. I've already done previews of all the bowl games up through tomorrow, which is Friday, because it's Thursday when I'm filming this. Are you confused yet? Just look at the title of this video. That's what this video will be about. But the point I'm saying is I'm filming 2 or 3 at the same time this morning because there's some really good games on Saturday and Monday, and I don't want to feel like I'm rushing through them, so I've decided to break these up into 3 separate videos. Anyway, enough about that, though. As usual, all the numbers that I use in this video, the over-unders, the totals, the money lines, the spreads, the odds, all those kinds of things are going to come straight from the website over at betnow.eu. There'll be a link in the description of this video. If you click that link, it'll take you to betnow.eu. Now, I've been lucky enough to work with the good people over there for the last couple of seasons now, including this season. They've given me a promo code to let you guys use if you decide you want to get signed up over there and make yourself some money betting on these college football games. Click the link. Go to betnow.eu. When you get signed up, enter the promo code Uncle Lou. That's one word, Uncle Lou, and they're going to give you a bonus on whatever money you deposit. Good luck. All right, here we go. The Peach Bowl, a college football playoff semifinal. Atlanta, Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This game comes on 4 o'clock ESPN on Saturday, and it is the first of 2 college football playoff games. And this year we have Oklahoma Sooners taking on the LSU Tigers, and LSU is a big favorite in this game. As of time of recording, LSU is a 13.5-point favorite, so just under 2 touchdowns in this game. Now, I don't think very many people are surprised by this. Most people are picking LSU to win this game and to win it fairly comfortably. And really, that wouldn't be that big of a surprise. If you look back over the history of the college football playoff games that we've had, going all the way back to 2014, which was the first year of the college football playoff, we've only had 1 or 2 competitive first-round playoff games during the entire existence of the college football playoff. Of course, you had the Rose Bowl from 2017, Georgia versus Oklahoma, probably the best first-round playoff game that we've seen. But generally speaking, most of the first-round playoff games have been blowouts. We had Ohio State losing 31-0 one year. We had Michigan State losing 38-0 one year. We had Notre Dame getting blown out last year by Clemson. We had Oklahoma. Oklahoma lost easily. Alabama had no trouble with them last year. Point is, we've seen Florida State going all the way back to the first college football playoff, got blown out by, Oregon in the first round. So we see a lot of blowouts in the first round of these playoff games. So no surprise to me that LSU is a pretty big favorite here. Number one, I think they clearly have been a better team than Oklahoma during the course of the season. And number 2, no surprise to see blowouts. Okay, let's talk about both these teams a little bit heading into this game. Of course, quarterback Jalen Hurts versus Joe Burrow. 2 transfer quarterbacks, which is a theme in this year's college football playoff. 3 of the 4 playoff teams, of course, are starting transfer quarterbacks. And the team that's not starting a transfer quarterback, Clemson, is starting a quarterback who took the place of a veteran quarterback 4 or 5 weeks into the season. Last year, you guys know the story with Trevor Lawrence and Kelly Bryant. So anyway, interesting quarterback situations for all 4 of these teams. But Oklahoma versus LSU, Jalen Hurts versus Joe Burrow. Start with Joe Burrow. He enrolls at Ohio State, sits behind a couple of quarterbacks, decides to transfer out to LSU, right? Plays last year at LSU, an okay season, not a great season. Joe Burrow himself didn't have a great season last year in LSU overall. An okay season, but not a great season. This year, of course, totally different story for Joe Burrow and the LSU Tigers. They bring Joe Brady in, offensive guy from the Saints, totally revamped the offense, and Joe Burrow just put up absolutely insane numbers all season long. Heisman winner, best quarterback in America this season in college football, and there is no question about that. Oklahoma, of course, Jalen Hurts at Alabama was the starter, took him to a national title game back in 2017 where he was benched at halftime in favor of Tua. We all know what happened there. My Georgia Bulldogs ended up catching an L there. Come out the next year, 2018, Alabama decides to go with Tua as the starter. Hurts plays sort of a backup role all through 2018. SEC championship game rolls around. Georgia is dominating Alabama. Again, Saban decides to make a quarterback change, bringing in, this time, Jalen Hurts off the bench, who leads Alabama back to a win over Georgia in the SEC title game. But Jalen Hurts decided to transfer out because, of course, the job was Tua's. He lands at Oklahoma. That's where we are now. Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts versus LSU, and Joe Burrow. Both these teams have great offenses, right? Oklahoma's got a great offense. It seems like every single year going back to the last 4 or 5 years. They make the playoffs every single year. They lose in round one every single year. Oklahoma's made the playoffs 4 or 5 times. They've never won a playoff game. Defense has been their Achilles heel. They bring in a new defensive coordinator this year, Alex Grinch. And I do think Oklahoma's defense has been better this year than it has been the last couple of years, especially in the first half of the season. Now, in the second half of the season, we started to see a lot of familiar tendencies pop up with Oklahoma's defense. And this isn't really a trash-talking video. We do a lot of that here. This isn't a trash-talking video, but Oklahoma's defense just seemed to get worse as the season went along. And that's kind of strange. You would think with, new defensive coordinators, new schemes, you would seem like it would sort of start clicking more as the season went along. And it really just didn't seem to happen for Oklahoma. Offensively, we all know they have a high-powered offense this year led by Jalen Hurts. You have CeeDee Lamb, you got running backs, multiple NFL wide receivers. Their offensive line is good. I don't think it's great. Oklahoma has had some great offensive lines over the last few years. I don't think this year's Oklahoma offensive line is as good as some of the Oklahoma offensive lines we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years, but it's still really, really good. Most of their issues lie on the defensive side of the ball. On top of that, you have the whole issue with several Oklahoma players being suspended for this game. No official reason has been announced by Lincoln Riley or the school, but most people assume and kind of just know it has to do with failed drug tests, whether that be some sort of illegal drug or some sort of performance-enhancing drug or whatever conclusion you want to draw. The point is, multiple defensive players for Oklahoma, including some starters, are suspended for this game. On top of that, they had an injury. I think it was their starting safety. He's out. It's not looking good for Oklahoma in this game on the defensive side of the ball. They're not a very good defense when they're at 100%. Missing several players in this game. Hard to imagine the Oklahoma defense finding a way to slow down the LSU offense in this game. As far as LSU goes, amazing offense, probably the best offense LSU has ever had. Defensively, I still think LSU has a ton of talent on defense. Just look at how they've recruited over the last 4 or 5 years. Now, their numbers defensively are not nearly as good this year as some of the numbers on defense we've seen LSU have in years past. Why? Some of it, I think, is because of the offense they're running. Some of it, but not all of it. When you're scoring touchdowns in a minute and a half instead of 4 and 5 and 6 minutes, which is what LSU used to do with more of their pro-style offensive attack that they had in years past, sort of longer drives, grinded out, more running the ball, more short passes. The scoring drives were longer, which gave the defense more rest for us right back out on the field. You look at LSU this year, they're scoring in a minute and a half, and that's putting the defense right back out on the field. And this is what the Big 12 has been trying to tell people for years, that, listen, our defenses aren't as bad as they look. It's because our offenses are so good. There's some truth to that, but if you watch LSU play, it's pretty clear that besides that, they're still not quite as good defensively as they have been in years past. Now, before the corn dogs get in the comment section with the type and yelling at me, LSU's defense is miles better than Oklahoma. Miles. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care what anything says. Watch these two teams play. There is 2 or 3 times the NFL talent on LSU's defense that there is on Oklahoma's. It's just not close. So if you're asking me who has the better offense, I'm going to say LSU, although arguments can be made for Oklahoma. If you're asking me who has the better defense, I'm going to say LSU again. I just think LSU is the better team here all the way around. Now, they've got an injury situation of their own that they're dealing with on offense with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, their running back, who had a great year this year, 12 or 1,300 yards, I think he ended up having. Joe Burrow and those wide receivers get a lot of the media attention and hype, and deservedly so. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a really, really good season, especially the second half of the season. He's hard to bring down. He's like a bowling ball, but he's got some moves too. Really good running back. He's really good, but he's iffy for this game. I mean, good luck trying to get any real information out of the coaches for this game here. But the best you can find anywhere about Clyde Edwards-Helaire is that he's iffy for this game. If I was LSU and he's iffy, I wouldn't play him. I don't think LSU needs him for this game. I honestly, LSU can line up and just throw the ball every single time and probably win this game. It's hard to get a player to sit out, though, even if they're, if he's 75, 80%, I imagine he's probably going to play some. Maybe we see him take on a similar role to what DeAndre Swift played for Georgia in the SEC championship game. DeAndre Swift was 75, 80% or whatever it was heading into the SEC championship game. They said he was going to play. He did play. Like 5 plays. He touched the ball 2 or 3 times. That was it the entire game. So maybe you see something like that with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Maybe if for some reason the game is close in the second half, they decide to sort of push the envelope a little bit and play him a little bit more. We'll see. But other than that, LSU appears to be at full strength heading into this game. Now, coaching-wise, Orgeron versus Lincoln Riley. Orgeron has more experience overall, right? He's been coaching longer, but clearly Lincoln Riley has the advantage in terms of playoff experience, with this being LSU's first trip to the playoff. I think Ed Orgeron's a good coach, right? LSU was wrong about him. Yeah, we all know that now, right? Orgeron was hired as a temporary coach, basically. They had no intentions on keeping him. They tried to hire several other coaches while he was there. Didn't work out, most notably, of course, being Jimbo Fisher. But it's working out now. Now, how much of it is Ed Orgeron? How much of it is Joe Brady? It doesn't matter. Regardless of what you think, I think you got to give Ed Orgeron a lot of credit for even bringing in Joe Brady, and their offensive coordinator as well. Had to swallow a lot of pride, sort of admit, hey, what we've been doing here is not working. Let's switch it up. We need something different on offense. Let's bring this guy in and sort of turn the keys over to him offensively. A lot of credit goes to the LSU coaching staff for doing that. It's hard for coaches to admit they were wrong or that they need to change things up or whatever. Look at Kirby Smart in Georgia. I hope he's taking notes of what's going on at LSU here. But anyway, the point is, Orgeron versus Lincoln Riley, 2 really good coaches. I would give Riley the advantage in terms of playoff experience. Clearly, Orgeron been coaching a little bit longer, so we'll see. Jalen Hurts, the wild card in this game, I think, in my mind anyway, in my opinion. We've seen Jalen Hurts play like a pretty average quarterback for portions of this season and large portions of seasons when he was at Alabama. First 6 or 7 games of this season, Jalen Hurts was, in a lot of people's minds, was the Heisman frontrunner, right? He ended up not winning it, of course, and he's had an issue with turnovers, especially the second half of the season. So what version of Jalen Hurts are we going to see here? He's dangerous running the ball, right? Passing, he's got a lot to work on in terms of passing. He's not as good of a passer as Oklahoma is used to having. Now, he's every bit the athlete of Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield in terms of extending plays with his legs and scrambling and moving the pocket and things like that. He's great. Third down runs, that kind of thing. He's amazing. Short yardage, goal lines. He can get a yard or 2 for you. He's a big guy. But throwing the ball, he is not what Oklahoma is used to having. He's not as accurate. He just doesn't have the overall arm talent that the previous 2 Oklahoma quarterbacks have had, both of which won the Heisman Trophy. Joe Burrow, to me, is clearly the better quarterback in this game, at least this season. That's how it's been. Joe Burrow can run too. Joe Burrow can scramble too. As a Georgia fan, we've played Joe Burrow each of the last 2 seasons. This year in the SEC championship game and last season during the regular season on the road in Baton Rouge. And in both of those games, multiple times, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times during each of those games on critical third downs, we had Joe Burrow dead to rights in the backfield for what should have been a sack, and he gets away, scrambles, picks up a first down with his legs, or in some cases, extends the pocket, extends the play, gives those wide receivers time to sort of move around and get open, and hits a strike for a first down. A very, very good quarterback. Smart, accurate, rarely makes mistakes. Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, sort of a turnover machine the second half of the season. I guess the more things I talk about this game, you compare whatever you want. OU's offensive line to LSU's defensive line, vice versa. An interesting matchup really will be, I think, LSU's defensive backs versus Oklahoma's wide receivers. I do think that's a really good matchup. But the more you just talk about this game and break it down, the more at least for me anyway, the more I keep going back to just my original thoughts and instincts about this game, which is that Oklahoma is just severely outmatched here. I really don't think Oklahoma has much of a chance in this game. If I'm an Oklahoma fan and I'm looking for a win here, it's going to be Jalen Hurts magic and CeeDee Lamb just making some amazing plays with maybe some catches and runs and getting him the ball in space, letting him break, whatever. I mean, you're going to have to get some lucky breaks here. Jalen Hurts is going to have to play out of his mind. And Oklahoma's defense is going to have to come up with a bunch of key third down stops here. This is kind of weird to say. Oklahoma can't win a shootout against LSU. Now, normally normally when you're talking about playing Oklahoma, you're like, well, we don't want to get into a shootout with Oklahoma. Oklahoma doesn't want to get into a shootout with LSU, I don't think. LSU's offense, I think, is better than Oklahoma's this year. And that's been hard to say in years past. You could make the argument the last couple of years that Oklahoma had the best offense in all of college football and their defense was holding them back. I still think Oklahoma has an amazing offense. Not quite as good as the last 2 years, but I think LSU's is even better. They got the best receiver in America in my mind, that Jamar Chase. He's unbelievable. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like we mentioned, we'll see, how much or if he plays. And of course, Joe Burrow has just been magic all season long. I find it hard to believe that anybody not an Oklahoma fan is giving Oklahoma much of a shot in this game. Now, the spread is 13.5. I like that number on LSU. It's just under 2 touchdowns. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, almost all of the first round college football playoff games going all the way back to when it started in 2014 have been blowouts. Almost all of them. All but 1 or 2. Okay? You have 2 first round playoff games a year. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we've had 5 already. That's 10, right? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah. So you've had 10 first round playoff games. About 8 of those have been blowouts. Only 1 or 2 have been competitive games. I don't think this is going to be the third. I think this is going to be a blowout here. I think LSU is going to run away with this game. Last year, Alabama was up on Oklahoma, 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, something like that. Oklahoma scored a little bit in the second half to make it look a little bit more interesting, but I think we're in for sort of the same kind of thing here. I think LSU jumps out to a lead early in this game. I think they do not let up. I don't think Oklahoma's defense is going to have any answers at all for LSU's offense and Joe Burrow and those wide receivers. And if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is healthy, then in the second half, he's just going to punish that defense and put this game away. I'm going to take LSU here and lay to 13.5. I think they win big. All right, there you go. That's the Peach Bowl preview. College football playoff semifinal game, round 1, 4 o'clock on Saturday, LSU versus Oklahoma. Remember, I'm doing a whole series of preview videos this morning, so depending on when you're watching this, you can either click back a video or 2 or forward a video or 2. I'm going to do the other playoff game, of course, is the Fiesta Bowl. Is that right? Clemson versus Ohio State, which should be a way more competitive game. And then I'm going to do all the rest of the college football games that are taking place on Saturday and Monday. I've already done previews of all the games up through Friday. So this morning, which right now when I'm filming this is the day after Christmas, early in the morning out here. Anything about his new robe? Yeah. Day after Christmas, I'm filming like 3 or 4 videos at a time here to upload over the next day or two, or whenever I decide to upload them. So, like I said, click forward or backwards to check out the other preview videos. They're going to all be done through Monday's games. No games on Sunday. You got a lot of games Saturday, a lot of games Monday, no games on Sunday. I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Yeah. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Good luck and congratulations to both LSU and Oklahoma for amazing seasons and making it to the college football playoff. Unfortunately, one of you has to lose. One of you has to end up on the Your Season is Over list Sunday morning. Yeah, there will be a Your Season is Over video coming this Sunday. So Oklahoma, we'll see you then. Have a good morning.